We are Nerd Gold Online, and this is Outer Terror from Ratalaika Games. This game is an isometric horror shooter where you're basically traversing maps trying to complete some sort of objective. In the one that you actually see in our video, we'll be looking for survivors and eventually helping repair some machines and take on some threats. Now, most of the stages are very similar in terms of gameplay, but the objectives are most slightly different, as well as the enemies you're fighting. Now, this game is a bit more graphic than most of the other games we've played from Ratalaika, but when you're actually into the gameplay, it's much less so. The very first one that we played, The Grey Death, that one you're basically dealing with creatures that are essentially the fusing of people that have kind of turned into like a blob of some sort. Now, as you see, there are 10 different characters to choose from, and so far from my experience, I haven't really noticed much of a difference between any of them other than their special ability. But the art style in the menus, as well as the intro videos for each chapter or episode, reminds me very much of Charlie Adlard from The Walking Dead, and absolutely digging it. But once we get into the gameplay, you'll see here in a sec that unfortunately doesn't carry over into the gameplay. So here we are. As you can see, the production quality is much lower in the way the characters look. I was really hoping that we were going to see that carry over and maintain the characters' look. But even with the lesser graphics, which honestly are only a problem when you compare it against the intro itself, otherwise not bad, especially for a company whose main gimmick is set to playing nostalgia, retro style games that look like they would have belonged on like the Super Nintendo or even Nintendo. And so with this, it definitely is an improvement to the normal quality that we usually see, but again, compared to that intro video and that art style there, it definitely felt quite short. Now the controls are actually very simple. I mean, literally you have 3 buttons while you're doing combat. It's just moving, and you have aiming with your other stick, and the aiming that you're doing, it's only for your special ability or one of the other items you pick up. And so then you have the right trigger to literally trigger that ability. And one other thing I would have liked to see is maybe on these maps having more of a kind of waypoint system that makes it easier to identify where you're supposed to be going. And because with this, it was very difficult to actually tell where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do, and mostly kind of aimlessly wandered throughout the stage to try to basically win the level and defeat whatever foes need to be defeated. And also one other thing that took me a while to figure out is those giant towers that everything's spawning from. You can actually destroy them, and that will actually make fewer spawn, so you're actually going to be dealing with fewer threats as you go. But I don't know if you'll actually be able to until the part of the story where they actually ask you to do that. But prior to that, I had tried and didn't know that there was even that possibility. Overall, though, we had quite a bit of fun, and as you can see, you'll see here in a minute, you actually see basically the meat cube boss of the first episode, and the thing is quite nuts in comparison to what we were fighting the whole time, and just the area effect that it causes as it runs by. There goes the meat cube, kind of more of a meat blob than anything else. And so basically trying to mostly clear the map, because I didn't realize that killing that thing would actually end the level. And so continued focusing on weakening it. Thought it would make just the level a little bit easier if I killed it. And instead, I actually wanted to continue exploring the map and actually clear the whole thing out and see if there was any other secrets to find. But unfortunately, I did end up killing it much earlier than I meant to, just because of that fact. And tricking it to come here made killing it much easier because the other enemies wouldn't come. But overall, we had a lot of fun.